Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Unquestionably Raw NBA podcast. I am your host, Matthew Miller, joined by my two co-hosts, Pete Toll and DJ Gonzo Star. Also, another longtime guest is back with us, Lance Roberson. Lance, good to have you back, brother.
Yes, thank you, man. It's been too long.
Oh, it absolutely has. We're going to jump right into it. So we had a big trade go down yesterday. Blake Griffin has been traded from the Los Angeles Clippers to the Detroit Pistons. So I believe it's Blake Griffin, Willie Reed,
Bryce Johnson.
Bryce Johnson, that's right. They're going to go to the Detroit Pistons. Tobias Harris, Avery Bradley, Boban Marjanovic, or Boban.
Yeah, you had it right.
Yeah, you had it.
Yeah, he's going over. And then a first-round pick this year for 2018 and a second-round pick. They're going to the Clippers. I'm going right to you, Pete Toll. Who won this trade?
I mean, the Clippers to me personally, because you got Tobias Harris, who's 25, averaging 18 points a game this year, 5 rebounds. Some people argued, probably mostly Detroit fans, but they kind of argued that Tobias should have been an all-star before Andre Drummond kind of got in there as the replacement. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think he was necessarily an all-star, but he's a young piece for them. You get Avery Bradley as a defender at the two-guard spot for this season. You know, they don't have to bring him back if it doesn't, out for them. And then, of course, the most important thing, the first-round pick. So it'll be anywhere, it's speculated, between 10 and 17. So we'll see what happens as far as that pick goes. But, I mean, you get rid of Blake Griffin and the $171 million that he was due. Basically, I think as we all could agree, Blake Griffin's athleticism's declined the last stay healthy. It's a huge risk for them to make in the offseason. Basically you're tying up the franchise, potentially now with Detroit and Andre Drummond for focal points. Out of the lineup, Reggie Jackson doesn't help. Inexperience at the two-guard spot, and then the small forward spot. So a lot of question marks there with not a lot of cap room, or hardly any cap room for Stan Van Gundy to make any moves. So we'll see what happens. But right now it's Clippers all the way for me.
Okay, nice. Gonzo, I'm coming to you now. What are your thoughts on this trade?
I guess the situation where the Clippers are just, trying to rebuild. They're just trying to break things up, I guess. For Detroit, it's not going to make much of a difference for them, but it helps them go maybe a few steps further in the Eastern Conference. I think if Blake Griffin is healthy. I really don't know what to really think of this trade because Detroit is like they have a bunch of bad pieces and they're trying to make something happen. Right now the Clippers won, obviously. Let's be honest. They got right now, as of today, they have I would say an all-star caliber player in Tobias Harris this year. You got Lou Williams. You got Avery Bradley. You got a good defender, somebody who's played under Doc Rivers before. You still have DeAndre Jordan at the moment, and they could possibly, especially with the injury of Boogie Cousins, could possibly slide into that 8th or 7th seed in the West. So they could be playoff bound right now. Playoff bound. But like I said, if Blake Griffin stays healthy and he's capable of putting up 20 and 10 with Drummond, and if, like I said, they can get productivity out of Ish Smith and Stanley Johnson and get something out of that bench, I mean, they could possibly make the playoffs in the East as well. But the Clippers definitely won.
Okay. What about you, Lance? Who got the better of this trade?
Well, for this season, I honestly think it's the Pistons. For one, I think this trade could help save Van Gundy's job because, I mean, let's be honest, the Pistons have been underwhelming. I know he's a coach, but he's also pretty much the GM, and he's made some very underwhelming moves. I mean, like signing Galway. I mean, that was for the money he did. Obviously, drafted Kennard's good, but like as we were talking about earlier, he's not really, probably not the piece you want to try to lead your team. And it hurt from Donovan Mitchell. was just right there. And I know hindsight's 20/20, but still,
Yep.
it happened. But at the same time, I don't think Blake Griffin's as one-dimensional as I used to see him. He's improved his three-point shooting. You may not have to like guard him all the time on threes, but he's improved there. And like I said, his free throw shooting's not bad. I mean, he came in the league shooting pretty poorly. I don't really have the numbers in front of me, but I know people used to hack him all the time to get him at the free throw line. Before he was traded, he had some decent numbers. I just think in the now it's good, but later when you see down the line, at the end of I think his last year, I think he'll make like 36, 37 mil with a player option. And I mean, let's be real, at 33 years old, 32, I don't think he's going to age well. He's not going to be like Karl Malone of a power forward at his age. I mean, it's going to be pretty bad. Mm-hmm. But in the moment, I think the Pistons won because they're going to make it to the playoffs. I mean, next year possibly, perhaps maybe be like a 6th seed. That's a win for them because I mean, let's be honest, they're not really a perennial team by any means. But in the East, if you can just string along a couple of wins, you could get in like top 5. So for now, I think Detroit won. Obviously, rebuilding stage and possibly free agency because there's a lot of reports that the Clippers are, in hunt for LeBron. Even if you don't think they can get him, at least theoretically they could because they have the money for him, and especially if they move DeAndre Jordan. So, but as of right now, this year, I think Detroit won the trade.
Absolutely. Okay. I think from Detroit's standpoint, they wanted that superstar guy, and Blake Griffin, he's got the commercials. He brings that. They're in the new arena, so I get that. Exactly. I think for the short term, if he stays healthy, maybe this works out. From the Clippers standpoint, yes, they're shedding cap space. They want to make that run at LeBron, maybe Paul George, one of those two guys. I don't think they'll have the money for both, but one of the two. At the same time, if they don't get LeBron or Paul George, they shed that huge contract. They're looking at $35 million a year over the next 4 years, not counting this year. They shed that deal. They realized, look, we're not going to pay this guy money. You can't really build around Blake Griffin. We're not going to pay this guy this kind of money to be the 7th or 8th seed in the West every year. So you shed the money. And I want to say it's like a soft rebuild, not a full rebuild, but kind of a soft one where you're a little competitive. You got Tobias Harris, you got Avery Bradley, you still have Austin Rivers, whether they move him or not. Obviously, it looks like DeAndre Jordan, Lou Williams, they could be on the move. But you got picks now. You got your own pick. You got Detroit's pick. You move DeAndre Jordan, you're probably going to get another pick. So, maybe they end up with a Trae Young in the draft or, someone like that, or a Michael Porter Jr., and you go from there. You can go ahead.
You have young pieces already in Juwan Evans. Yeah. Kind of groomed at the point guard spot. CJ Williams, although he's not necessarily a young prospect, but Tyrone Wallace came on late. Should have a roster spot, hopefully, after all of his two-way days are used. But just those young guys, could kind of fit in, fill some spots in the backcourt. Sindarius Thornwell's another one there, but. I think flipping back to Detroit, I think one of the plus sides of getting trying to make Andre Drummond and Blake work is Blake is used to that type of center that doesn't really shoot and score. So he kind of knows how. So that's a plus there. It's just you hit it on the head with so many moves that Stan Van Gundy because you can go back to the 2015 draft. The Stanley Johnson pick, they debated up until like the final minute whether to pick Devin Booker or Stanley Johnson, and they went Stanley. I mean, potentially, hopefully Luke Kennard turns out to be decent, but I don't personally think, and I'm a huge Duke guy, I like Kennard, but I don't think he'll ever be a starting caliber two guard that's, a second option or better on a team.
I think about that, Pete, what you just said. The draft, you could have had Booker. This year, you could have had Donovan Mitchell. Now, obviously, nobody thought Mitchell was going to do this. Right. I think most people are shocked by what he's doing. Outside of our guy, I know our guy Snotty Drippin has been really on the Donovan Mitchell hype train from the beginning. So outside of him, I can't think of anybody who thought Mitchell was going to be this good. So it's one of those things. You take your chances in the draft. But historically, have the Pistons really drafted well? I mean, you take Milicic instead of Carmelo, so it happens. I know that wasn't Stan Van Gundy. It happens.
And the worst Josh Smith contract on their books, which is all you need to know. The Pistons' heads are as far as some front office moves. So maybe they'll turn it around, and this will put people in the seats, and they'll maybe move Reggie Jackson, see what they can get out of that. But he's got to get healthy first.
I think in the short term they're going to put some butts in the seats. The fans will show up for the first few games for Blake Griffin. I think you'll see a little more. You'll see more fans in the arena because that place is empty, and you can see it during the broadcast. But now let's go to some injuries. We got three All-Stars are injured. They're all out for the All-Star game. Replacements have been, I think 2 of them have been replaced so far. But we'll start with DeMarcus Cousins. Lance, I'm going to you first. What's this gonna do to the Pelicans? Do they make the playoffs now?
They probably won't, because Asik is their backup, and we've already talked about how thin they are in their depth, and the whole thing about that team was the dynamic of 2 bigs that you just can't really stop. You can't stop both of them. And most of the time, you can't stop either of them. And you can have them both. You can stagger their minutes. But now with that gone, it's going to be Anthony Davis against the world again, and we've already seen how that's gone. I mean, and DeMarcus Cousins, I know he's not the best 3-point shooter on their team, but he's one of the better 3-point shooters on their team. I forgot the gentleman's name. Etuan Moore, I believe, is it?
Yes,
Etuan Moore.
Yeah, but still, I mean, he's not DeMarcus Cousins. And I also obviously it's Achilles, and I know he's not a guard, but he's a big dude. He's slimmed down a little bit, but he's still a big dude. So I don't know how great of a comeback he's going to have. And it's going to hurt him obviously on the market and free agency. I still think he's going to get some good money, but I don't think it'll be max.
Absolutely. Gonzo, what do you think of this Cousins injury? How does this hurt the Pelicans?
Oh, it damages their playoff chances. Especially when you're dependent on both of your big men to play 48 minutes a night with the possibility of playing overtime. Just go look at their last like maybe 8-10 games. Like Anthony Davis and Boogie Cousins have been playing ridiculous amount of minutes. That's why he's injured. They're playing so many minutes. Like one game, Anthony Davis played like 54 minutes. And then Boogie Cousins played about 52 minutes. I think in that Bulls game, I think Anthony Davis fouled out with like maybe 49, 50 minutes. Yeah. And Boogie ended up playing the entire game almost. I mean, he played like 51 minutes that night. These minutes are getting really ridiculous. Maybe because, like I said, they don't have the scoring coming off the bench. So it's kind of a situation where Gentry is forced to play these guys extended minutes because, believe it or not, coaches have to play for their jobs as well. They have to put up W's because if they don't, possibility of being fired. So sometimes I kind of understand why guys like Tibbs and Gentry at the moment, they have to play their guys for so long because this is all they have to score to give their team a chance to win and also to keep their jobs. But unfortunately, I think the minutes is a big reason why Cousins end up injured. But yeah, it damages the playoff hopes.
Very good. Pete, what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Well, that was a great point by Gonzo because that's exactly what it was. And even the reports came out that too many strenuous minutes played a part in him having tightness there, kind of loosened up. And then, of course, then he gets injured. So he already had problems with the Achilles. Well, not really. It kind of had a little tightness about a month ago, and it was like no big deal. And then nothing flared up or anything like that, so no big deal. But then obviously we see he got hurt. But I think that was just freak play of the moment that just happened to come about. With the minutes, obviously playing probably a 90% factor into that. His weight being probably the other 10%. And Lance, you brought up the point that, with him being a big man and at his size, 270, 280, he potentially is going to have zero as far as, coming back right away. Defensively, he wasn't that good anyway. He was more obviously the offensive side of the ball, but just his explosiveness on offensive moves is going to be it's going to take a little time when he does get back. Now, he is a free agent, at the end of this season. So that's going to play a big part too. And the Pelicans almost have to re-sign him to have any chance of keeping Anthony Davis and any chance to keep a superstar like Cousins there, because they're not going to get anything else in free agency, nor do they have the cap room. Now, potentially what this does for this season, you're looking at Drew Holiday playing probably between 34 and 37 minutes a night, every night. You're looking at guys like Rondo, Darius Miller, Ian Clark, guys like that playing a ton of minutes, each one more. That's a heavy load with not a lot of star names, there, filled in. Maybe Drew Holiday, here and there can put up, 30 points or so, but that's going to be a tough load on Anthony Davis.
It would have been big if they could have got Nico.
And the thing with that is, with Nico, like, he can stretch the floor and give you perimeter, where now really your only perimeter shooters are Drew Holiday, Darius Miller, and each one more. But you're looking at the talent across the board, and I don't know how the Pelicans are going to withstand, are trying to stay in the playoff hunt, because there's not a lot of games between the 9th seed and the 5th seed right now as far as wins and losses. Mm-hmm. And we all have seen Anthony Davis always goes down with these, like, fall to the floor, hip, contusion, or concussions, whatever it is. If he misses time, it's a wrap. Yep. And Alvin Gentry is basically coaching for his job this season.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You've all made great points. I'm just going to say one thing. What sucks about this injury, the Pelicans were really starting to play well. Mm-hmm. They finally started to find a nice little rhythm that they were going, and they looked like they could, obviously not going to get to the finals, but they could have been a problem for a team. You play a team like Golden State, you extend them a couple games and make the series interesting. Whether it's Houston, Golden State, San Antonio, Minnesota, they could have caused some problems, especially with the big guys. So that really sucks for them. But let's go ahead, Lance.
Well, I was just gonna say, and also, even if they do make the playoffs, Cousins won't be a part of it. So it's like another thing that's probably gonna upset him, rightfully so.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Real quick, I'm going to kind of break some news for everybody. Our guy, Keith Smith, is citing a source that says the Pelicans will try to put a hard sell on Greg Monroe, who just got bought out. I know we're going to talk about that, Matt.
Yeah, okay.
Nice. By pushing an opportunity and playing connection. The key there, have to create space on the roster and get under the hard cap before they can play for Greg Monroe, but they really want to push that starting spot there. So shout out to Keith for that.
Nice.
News.
Yes. Nice. All right, let's go to John Wall now. I'm going to start with you, Pete. John Wall, 6 to 8 weeks, had the knee surgery. What does this do to the Wizards? Do they? I mean, obviously, the playoffs are still in the picture because we know how the East is.
Right. Basically, it's Bradley Beal and Otto Porter that have to weather the storm now. Now, with Bradley Beal, he ups his shooting percentage quite a bit, and then his, obviously, points per game without John Wall there. But you're relying on Tim Frazier and Tomas Satoransky to run the point guard spot. Pull in Jody Meeks off the bench at the 2-guard spot to kind of put rotation around Beal. And I don't know, it's going to be tough. You've got, Philly being one that really make a play for the playoff, try to make a run, even though they're struggling, lost tonight. Detroit talked about, New York's not yet. All those guys, you look at New York, who right now, they basically are 6 games out of the 5th spot where Washington sits right now. And Philadelphia is 3 games behind Washington, including the loss that Philly just lost tonight.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask it. Yeah.
So, a couple losses and Washington could fall, right there to Philly, and Detroit could potentially swoop in. I don't think it goes that far, but I think Washington may try to.
I saw
get
something
some help.
interesting. 18 of their next 22 games are against playoff teams.
I saw that too. It's going to be hard, like I said, but I think Washington might try to make a little small move to get some kind of scoring punch. I would not be shocked to see them try to make. I don't think they get them, but try to make a run at DeAndre Jordan or something. I don't really know what they would give up, but
right.
Something. They really could use a scoring punch in Tyreek Evans.
Yes, I was going to say that. Yes.
But I don't know how that's workable either.
Well, I mean, first round pick, but you never know. Lance, what are your thoughts on the John Wall injury?
I'll be honest, man. I'm sad because I hate seeing injuries, but at the same time, their king is selling wolf tickets. No matter what, healthy or not healthy, I don't think they're going to make an impact in the playoffs. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but year after year, I hear them talk about all of this, what they're going to do, and they just fall flat. It'll be interesting to see how they, play with that Wall. I saw they beat the Thunder the other night.
Yes.
But at the same time, the Thunder have their own problems. Every now and then we think they fix them, but whatever. But I still think they probably barely keep in the playoffs. But like Pete said, I mean, the games are so close as far as the standings are concerned. But I still think they make the playoffs. I'm sure the Wall will be back by then. I don't know how good he'll be, obviously, because you got to get acclimated and get in game shape and whatnot. But I just don't really think they're going to make an impact with or without Wall in the playoffs. So it's sad to see, but I don't think it's really going to move the needle any. So
okay, Gonzo, what are your thoughts on the John Wall injury? How does this affect the Wizards?
When I think about John Wall, I'm gonna tell you what I think. I think that the John Wall situation is kind of like what I see with Bradley Beal and Damian Lillard. When Damian Lillard isn't playing, the Portland Trailblazers look a lot better at times when Damian Lillard isn't playing. I think Bradley Beal and the Washington Wizards look a lot better without John Wall, honestly, sometimes.
Interesting.
The bad part is that they're going to be playing over 500 teams, so it's going to be very, very difficult. It's going to be very difficult for them to compete against those teams, and I'm afraid they might slide a little bit.
And it's really close out east.
And don't forget that John Wall signed that, the $170 million. That's a ton of money to put to a guy that constantly is injured. Like the last year he had surgery, the year before he had a bunch of games. And I feel like you're putting a lot of on Otto Porter and John Wall's contracts. And what else do you have on that team? You don't really have a center. I mean, Markieff Morris is okay at power forward. Your bench is very limited.
You got Jan Amy in that contract. That's what you got on your.
I mean, and look at guys like that. They try to push to develop, key guys off the bench like Kelly Oubre. Like he's hit or miss. Like I wouldn't put Kelly Oubre in my emerging star, list as far as up and coming. Like
I like Oubre, but I'm with you there, and I like Oubre.
I mean, I think he could be a lot more than what he currently is. I mean, I'm not trying to diss the guy, but I feel like as hard as Oubre works in the offseason and just what he puts in, I feel like it should show more on the court. And
he should be a better player,
right? And it could be the system that Scott Brooks runs. It was a very vanilla system, and I don't know.
All good stuff. All right, now we're gonna go to Kevin Love. I'm gonna go to you, Gonzo. We've seen the Cavs are having problems this year. Now Kevin Love's down 6 to 8 weeks with the broken hand. Gonzo, what's this going to do to the Cavs? Now, they did pull one out against Miami tonight, but what's this going to do to the Cavs?
I mean, well, it might hurt them. It might give them a few more losses, but like I said, they still have the best player, one of the best top 5 players in the world, in LeBron James. I mean, you have a decent enough supporting cast to compete in the East. I don't think we'll see that much. Honestly, at this point, I told somebody the other day, I saw the Cavs with or without Kevin Love right now as at least a 5 seed, at the least. And guess what? They're still going to make the finals. So Kevin Love won't be holding them back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. God, we heard it from Gonzo. Lance.
Okay, so I'm on the opposite side. I mean, obviously, I think they can still make the playoffs, but I think Caleb's a lot more important. And honestly, I think Cleveland, they restrain him. I think he's a lot better. I think he's not he was never very athletic, but he probably lost, a step as far as a little bit of athleticism. But I really think the way that they play him as just pretty much spot up shooter, I think he's lost what he's had, but I think he can gain it back if he goes to another team.
Okay.
I really think it's going to hurt them. I'm sorry, but they got a lot of unfortunate trade people they traded for and signings. He's their only legit all-star next to LeBron, and I know Isaiah's there, but he's not what he was last year, nowhere near.
No.
So he's not an all-star this year, so I'm not gonna call him that this year. And I like IT, but there's been a lot of bullcrap that's been going on in that locker room. And for them to attack Love when he had a flu, when they got Derrick Rose going on these sabbaticals, and he doesn't even tell the team what they are. So, you know what? I think it's going to hurt them, but at the same time, I think it's going to be better for Kevin Love to get away from it. And it's his hand. So, was it his shooting hand?
Left hand, I believe.
So it's not his shooting hand.
Okay,
then.
so he should be fine then, and it'll get him a time away from the very, just housewives of Ohio locker room. So
yes,
I think they'll be fine in the long run, but I think it'll show how much they do need Love.
Mm-hmm. No All right, Pete. What are your thoughts on Kevin Love?
I mean, Kevin Love obviously was voted an All-Star, so
right.
I think that is a big factor in it. But I think that you need to look at the Cavaliers as a whole. Like Lance just mentioned, Derrick Rose. I mean, he doesn't even play for the team. Basically, J.R. Smith's having an awful shooting season. Jay Crowder looks like he's on a milk carton as far as defense goes.
He doesn't look like he could play for a JV high school team right now.
And then Tristan Thompson, doesn't do anything offensively. In and out of the lineup, you're relying on Channing Frye to hit threes. I think all of this drama, much as there is, and turmoil and things like come playoff time, LeBron turns it on and he's unstoppable. I don't really think, as far as the Eastern Conference goes, many teams are really going to be able to stand a chance. I think you might see Boston give them a fight, but even then, that's going to be questionable. And no diss, to Toronto fans or anything like that. I don't think Toronto has enough as currently constructed to take it out. But that's just my thought on it, just because of, we've seen done, come playoff. DeMar DeRozan struggled. Is not a consistent piece of the offense night in and night out. There's nights where they go to him. There's nights where they don't. I just don't know that they're, the top flight team that is going to challenge Cleveland. Not to say that they're not a good team, because Toronto is a very good team right now. I just don't know, unless they get another quality bench piece, I just don't think that they have enough for Cleveland. But going back to Cleveland, I think they really need a shakeup as far as the trade, not just for this season, but to keep LeBron, because, why is LeBron going to stay if you're wanting to Love on the books, you're wanting to keep Tristan Thompson, you're wanting, potentially could come back. Why would he want to play with team headache? He already last year was frustrated and has come out this year and said it's the toughest season he's had, mentally. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I think it's going to be tough for them, because we see how bunched up the East is between really 3 and 9. There's not that many games that separate. If the Cavs hit that stretch where they're just, we know they don't play a lot of defense. I mean, Milwaukee's starting to get hot. They're winning some games. If Miami Cleveland could fall to they could fall to 5th, 6th place, which would be tough. And call me crazy, I know you just said I got Toronto in the finals right now. I think if ever there was a year, I think
Wow.
if ever there was, because I think they're better than Boston. I call me crazy. I do. I think Toronto's better than Boston. They're a top 7 defensive team in the league right now, and offensively they pass the ball so much more. That system is working. DeRozan's making threes now. I was wrong about them. I actually really like the Toronto team, and Pete knows I've really been against them.
Right,
I have. I'm right now.
That's bold, man. I'll give you that.
Obviously, trades can happen, and that can change after the trade deadline. Cleveland makes a couple moves, and it's a wrap.
Right.
You know, if Cleveland brings in DeAndre Jordan, Cleveland's in the finals.
Yeah.
Just by that, because it's going to help.
Pretty much what you say, right? Right now, what you're saying is Toronto's made it to the finals, so you pretty much just guarantee Golden State another sweep.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a good 4-game series though.
I mean, they can still get a sweep if Cleveland goes the way they're playing. They won't even.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, we saw Toronto had them beating Golden State, and then we saw what happened the other day. I mean, I think it'll be one of those 4-game series where it's 2 of the games are close.
Toronto put on Kevin Durant because you got Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. My guess is Anunoby would guard because man,
he would have. I mean, you'd have
rookie,
to.
Huh?
You would have to though,
man.
because let's be honest, of their starters, Pete. Anunoby's probably the best perimeter defender of the 3, right?
He is, but he's a rookie, and Kevin Durant at 6'11".
But here's. I don't know. I mean, it's a bold prediction. Everything could change. I mean, it's how bad I think the East is right now.
So you're saying Cleveland and Toronto in the conference finals, or is that who you're saying?
That's probably how I think. I think Boston goes out in the second round.
Man.
Wow.
I think Cleveland takes out Boston, because I think Toronto will end up with the 1 seed, and I think they're gonna. Right now, as it is, it looks like Toronto could get to the finals. And I said this, you've probably seen. If ever there was a year for a team to come out of the Eastern Conference LeBron James Invitational, it's this year. If ever there was a year,
I think it'd be next year when LeBron goes west and
well, then there is no more LeBron
in
the East. It's not the LeBron Invitational anymore. Then
I'll say this, man. The best team to give the Warriors a fit out of the East is the Celtics to me.
Yeah, that's me.
That's the team.
That'll be that would be someone on Twitter said that's going to be the best 4-game series we've ever seen.
I think it would go 5, but I would generously give Boston a game. But speaking of Boston, we know Gordon Hayward went down with that horrific leg injury. Yeah. Well, Isaiah Cannon just had the same similar thing. He snapped his leg at the end of the first quarter.
Carted him, got a stretcher, I believe. I saw that.
At the end of the first quarter of Suns Mavs. So
it looks bad.
It was nasty.
Yeah. Speaking of, Mavs are getting whopped by the Suns.
That's Pete's guy too.
His ankle completely snapped on it. He was driving to the layup and came down wrong. So as much as I don't like Isaiah Cannon's game personally, when he was with the Sixers, I don't wish that on anybody. So prayers to Cannon, and
when healthy, Pete, you don't want Cannon back on the Sixers?
No, but I want him to be healthy enough to play basketball, because after that, that's
thank you.
Or at least
I'm definitely not going to be watching that replay.
Yeah, no, I want to see it.
All right, good stuff. Now, we got to get to this though. Greg Monroe's been bought out, and I'm gonna go to Pete on this one first because he just mentioned the Pelicans. Pete, does that seem like a really logical destination for Greg Monroe, especially with Cousins being out?
I mean, it's a good fit, but they got to shed salary.
Yeah, I
think Boston, somebody you got to look at too. I mean, I know they have Horford there, but I think Greg Monroe, of any big that they have off. That could be. We had that the player exception as well. I think it's $8.4 million. They have because they didn't bring back Jarrell Eddy on a 10-day contract, so they can slot Greg Monroe in there. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to kind of see where he ends up because he's not able to play very good defense. So it has to be an offensive, move for any team. So across the board, it's limited.
Yep.
Out that the Bucks, but I'm like, why would the Bucks take Greg Monroe back? That makes no sense.
That's not going to happen. No.
So I mean, I think it's between Boston and probably New Orleans would be the two that I would say.
Okay, Gonzo, where do you think Greg Monroe ends up?
I would probably say Boston. I think Boston is probably the best destination for him. Like I said, gives Boston another big who can score. Like I said, he's averaging 14 and 9 for his career, so he can get an okay amount of rebounds. I think that the way Brad Stevens runs his defense, it can cover up for the way Greg Monroe is not such a good defender. It'll kind of plug some of the holes in his game. So he would fit right in. I think Brad Stevens is kind of like Greg Popovich. He can get a bunch of guys who not great defenders, but in a defensive system, he can make them look better than the average. I think Boston will probably be the best destination for him, honestly, and it also will give him the best possible chance to get a championship. Possibly,
unless he went to Golden State.
Honestly, I think it would either be the Celtics or the Pelicans. I know it sounds like a boring answer, but the Pelicans are desperate. I mean, they got to make the playoffs. I'm sorry, they can't miss the playoffs again. I mean, they can't. They just can't. Why would Davis say that they can't make the playoffs? And the Celtics, I mean, I like Baines, but to be honest, I'd probably want to have Monroe. I think Baines is a little bit more of a banger, but I think Monroe gives him a little bit more on offense. And it'll just give him another player to give Horford, some rest, and maybe so Horford can play the 4 sometimes, even though they always pretty much play him at the 5. But I think that's probably the two most logical answers. I mean, you can throw in other teams, but those are really the end game scenarios, where you would probably go. Or at least where you probably want to go.
Absolutely. I like the Pelicans, but one good thing about Greg Monroe, the Brad Stevens system, we know how Georgetown big guys are. They can really pass the ball. So I think Greg Monroe could fit in there because we know all Georgetown got big men. They all pass the ball. So I think that would be a good fit. But I'm going to go on now because we got to continue because it is late and it's a Wednesday night. And I know everybody has to get up, go to work tomorrow, whatever you guys got to do. But we got to get to – I've been meaning to do this. The All-Star, we know who the All-Star teams are. We're not going to get in and talk, hey, whose team is better. We're not worried about that. But I want to get into everybody's who they had in the All-Star game. And Lance was telling me before we went live that he's going to be really boring. And it's going to be so I want to go to Lance first. We're going to start with their starters first. Go with the 5 starters in each conference. Go ahead, Lance.
Okay. So we're doing the conference, and we're not doing how.
We're just going to do a conference. Yeah, we're just going to do conference. Yeah.
All right. So mine would be Curry, Harden, Durant, Davis, and I forgot who was the other center.
Was it Cousins?
Yeah, but then he got replaced, right? By.
We're not going to worry. We're not worried about that right now. We're just going to go from.
Just by who they pick. Okay, well then it would be that. It would be. It would be exactly that. Yeah, it would be
outstanding. I'm not even mad at you.
Yeah.
Gonzo, where are you? No, hold on, Lance. What about the East?
Okay, so the East. Oh man, see, Kyrie. What kind of bombing? DeRozan, LeBron, Love, the center. I was fine with Embiid starting. Honestly, I mean.
Oh wow! So Love over Antetokounmpo.
Yeah. Well, see, I guess I'm being a little positional nerd, and I consider him more of a small forward, even though he could probably play whatever position.
That's all right. No, that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. It's your team.
Doing positions, I would have him in the starting lineup.
It's your team. Hey, it's your team. It's your team. No need to apologize. Your team. Gonzo, where are you at in the West? Who would you have had as your starters?
The West, I had Curry, Harden, Durant, AD, Boogie.
Okay.
For the East, I had Kyrie, DeRozan, LeBron, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid as my center.
I think all of us are probably going to be on that same page. Pete, where are you at?
West, Curry, Harden, Durant, Davis, Cousins, and then in the East, Irving, DeRozan, Antetokounmpo, LeBron, and Embiid.
Okay, yeah, I'm there too. We're just going to move on. Now we're going to go to the West. How we're going to do it? How I want to do this? I'm going to do it a little different. First, I'm gonna go and ask East West your two backcourt players. So I'm
Okay.
gonna start with you, Pete. In the West, who are your two backcourt players?
Let's see. So I'm going and
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the bench memorized either, man. It was a
I got. That's why I'm doing it this way. I'm just going to start with the guard because I know it's two backcourt, two front court, three front court, two wild card.
Right.
So that's how we'll do it. What about the East?
Oh, for me, East, I go Oladipo, and I would have had me personally. I would have had Ben Simmons, but
okay. Yeah. Hey, I'm with. Hey, keep. Hey, I like it. Gonzo, where are you at? Who are your two guards in the West and the East for the backcourt?
The West, I had Russell Westbrook and Klay Thompson.
Okay.
And my backcourt for the East was John Wall and Victor Oladipo.
Okay. What about you, Lance?
Jimmy. Okay, so this year Jimmy Butler's more. He's more of a shooting guard this year.
Yeah,
right?
I would put him backcourt. Yeah.
Okay. So I would go Westbrook and Jimmy Butler.
Okay. Now, what about the East?
Okay. So, I mean, Wall's there, and I'm not super mad at it. Although part of me doesn't want him there, but I'd go Wall and Ben Simmons.
Okay, my backcourt in the East or the West is same as Pete. I got Russell Westbrook and Klay Thompson. I think Gonzo had in the East though. Oladipo. I'm with you there, but I'm going to say Dragic would have been my other one. I think you have to. I think you had the only reason why is because everybody knows how I feel about Whiteside, and but the Heat are fourth place. They have to. I think you have to give them a go, and that's why Dragic is on my team. I'll be honest. Lowry and Wall are not on my All-Star team.
I'm not mad at that at all.
And obviously I got Oladipo. I think of both my teams, and we'll get to it. I had Lowry, Wall, and then I had one guy out west that wasn't on. But there's only three that I differentiated from it. But that's okay. So we'll go to the front court now in the East and the West. I'm going to start with you, Lance. West, who's your front court? Three guys in the West.
Okay, front court
and in the East. Yeah.
Okay, so front court, I'm gonna go LaMarcus Aldridge, Paul George.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think of somebody because there is one person that made it from the front court, but honestly, that's the one person I kind of wanted to leave off. Oh, and
Draymond.
Carl Anthony.
Okay. Nice. Gonzo, what about? Oh no, Eastern Conference now, Lance.
Okay, East. Kristaps Porzingis. And Giannis, and I got one more, right?
Yep, one more.
I don't think I didn't say Andre Drummond.
Okay, that's good. That's good stuff right there. Gonzo, what about you?
Well, for my front court players in the West, I had Karl Anthony Towns, LaMarcus Aldridge, and I had Jimmy because I guess I kind of consider
that's
Jimmy
fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Okay, so Jimmy. I didn't think I looked at Paul George. I looked at Paul George and Jimmy numbers. I wanted to put Paul George, but I know Paul George leads the league in steals. But Butler shoots a better percentage. He averages maybe a point more. Not to mention, at the time when all the votes came in, Minnesota was, if not tied or if not a little bit better than OKC. Paul George he's had an excellent last month. Jimmy Butler's he's been pretty much consistent after that first month of the season, so he's been consistent a little longer.
Yes, that's good stuff. What about the East?
In the Eastern Conference, I had who did I have a small forward? I know my center was Dwight Howard. I think Dwight Howard should have been an All-Star.
Wow.
Okay.
I think
I'm not mad at that.
The reason
Dwight Howard has been very good.
Yes. He's averaging like 15.9 and like 12.3 rebounds a game. I know Drummond is averaging like 14.5 and like 15.2 or something like that. I mean, but Dwight Howard, he's actually been showing a lot of glimpses of old Dwight Howard. Like He showed me some post moves and a couple of crossovers, and he looks like he's trying to be the guy. You know, I mean, it looks like he's trying to prove himself to Michael Jordan.
Okay.
Kevin Love, obviously, I think he definitely deserves the credit. I don't think he deserves a lot of the blame that he's getting in Cleveland. The guy has won a championship. He even stepped his game up, defense up in a game 7 against the Warriors. I think people undervalue him a lot. And I had one other person. Who's my other
Porzingis.
small? Oh, absolutely. Porzingis. That's it.
Okay. Yes. Good stuff. Good stuff. What about you, Pete? Wait, did I go to you already? I don't think I went to you. Yeah, I went to Lance first. Yeah, go ahead, Pete.
All right, so West front court's Karl Anthony Towns, and I had Paul George and LaMarcus Aldridge. In the East, Kristaps Porzingis, Kevin Love, and then I actually gave it to Andre Drummond.
Okay, nice. My Western Conference, I got a surprise on this one. Obviously, I've got you guys didn't have, but I've got Draymond Green, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Clint Capella.
Okay.
I know it sounds I really wanted to put Capella on the team. I think the Rockets deserve 2 All-Stars.
Yeah.
Chris Paul's missed a lot of games, so I went with, and I really like what Capella's done. Obviously Porzingis in the East, Kevin Love, and then I'm going to go Andre Drummond. I like Drummond there. All right, now we're at our 2 wild cards, so obviously it can be any position. I'm going to go to you first, Gonzo. Who's your wild cards? 2 wild cards, East and West.
For the Western Conference, I would say Draymond Green and
I know it's tough.
Yeah, it's hard when you get these last ones.
Yeah, Draymond Green definitely, and I would probably put Chris Paul.
There we go.
Okay.
Out of respect, I just would. I mean, because just because of what he does for the Rockets team when he is playing, his numbers are still pretty good. What in the East? Wow. I would probably have to put Ben Simmons on there. I think he's played good enough. And one other person I don't think Al Horford should have been an All-Star. No way.
Bradley, is it Bradley Beal?
Oh, absolutely, Bradley Beal. That's it.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I should have named him earlier.
I was wondering if you were going to put him on there when he wasn't in the backcourt. All right, I'm going to you now, Pete.
No, I just wanted to state, Bradley Beal, if you ever see this podcast, I'm sorry I disrespect you in that manner. I should have put you up there earlier. You're actually one of my favorite players in the NBA.
I like it. What about you, Pete?
So I did not have Jimmy Butler on my list previous, so he gets a spot. And then Damian Lillard actually makes the other spot, which actually snubs Draymond Green.
Okay.
I went with George over Green slightly, even though you could, kind of debate. As far as the East goes, Bradley Beal would be one. And then his backcourt teammate, John Wall, is the other.
Okay, I like it. Good stuff, Pete. Good stuff. You too, Gonzo. Lance, what about you?
All right, so for the West, I'm going to put Lou Williams in.
Okay.
I mean, career-high numbers. He's actually almost shooting 40% from 3, so it's not like he's just hacking up some garbage 3-point shots. I mean, the Clippers are not necessarily in the playoffs, but they're not necessarily out of them either. So I always like to reward winning teams, and technically they're not that bad of a team, even though they did lose a lot of players. And he's an exciting player to watch. So, and I want to reward a guy that's having career highs, and he's never had numbers before. And then the other player in the West, this is where it kind of gets harder for me. I guess I'd probably put Klay Thompson. You know what? No, I'm gonna put Damian Lillard.
Okay.
Damian Lillard and Lou Williams. As much as I think the Warriors should have 3 to 4, I think 2 is enough. The Blazers, I think they do need a representative. I kind of don't like how Lillard, went on his little campaign. Some of it's the truth, but it's kind of like, come on, dude. Like, it's not like you're not known. Like, come on.
Yeah.
In the East, I mean, I'm sorry, but Horford, he's one of my all-stars. And I didn't mention Oladipo earlier, so Oladipo.
Okay.
And I know, like man, and you know what? Oh, it's kind of bad that I'm leaving out Beal, but like I can't not have Oladipo in there as as a guard. I mean, this dude's having a breakout season, so Beal might have to wait one week for me, at least in mine.
Nice, good stuff. All good stuff. All right, for the West, obviously Towns is out on my All-Star team. It was basically I had Capella over Towns. And you can't go wrong if you had Towns over Capella, but right. I had to avoid Clint Capella.
Towns started out really weak defensively, and he's starting to bring it around. So I mean, he's had the greatest.
I was also on the fence in the West with Steven Adams because I think he's been to Oklahoma City's for all year, been probably their second best player. I think maybe one of their most because he's been fantastic for them. But my wild cards are Jimmy Butler and Damian Lillard. It was between Lillard and Towns, and I went with Lillard because I already gave Jimmy, Jimmy's in, so they got their all-star. I had to give one to Portland. Pete's going to like this. Out east, Ben Simmons.
Nice.
Who I hope gets John Wall's spot, or is it Wall now or Kevin Love's spot?
It'll either be him or Kemba Walker, one of the two. Or Dragic.
I think it'll be Ben Simmons or Dragic.
Drummond took whose spot did Drummond take?
Drummond took
Wall's spot.
Yeah. I think it's going to be Ben Simmons or Dragic. I hope it's Simmons. I won't be mad at Dragic because he's deserving. As you all noticed, because he's on my all-star team, and that was I had him all along. And then I got Bradley Beal in my other spot.
Yeah, nice. You can't be mad at that.
Yeah, I had to. And when I made this pick, and these are the guys I picked probably a couple weeks ago, and I kept with them. I had Drummond over Horford. If I did it right now, I would have Horford in because the Pistons are out of the playoffs. But I'm just sticking to what I had a couple weeks ago. So I don't mind Horford on the team. He deserves it. Absolutely. I think Keith Smith will be with me on that one. He absolutely deserves it. But we're going to get into our power rankings now. We're going to start with Rookie of the Year. So we're going to go 5-1. Okay. I'm going to start with you, Lance.
All right. My number 5 is Lauri Markkanen.
Nice. I like it. Who do you got it for?
Are we not?
We're going to go 5-1. 5-1.
So you do want me to say, because I remember last time we did this, I kind of bombed on it. So.
That's all right. Go 5-1, man. Who's 4? Keep going.
So I believe my 4 was I think it was Kyle Kuzma. I had it 4.
Okay.
Yep. It was Kyle Kuzma. You want me to keep going?
Yeah, keep going all the way up to 1.
Okay. My 3 is Channing Tatum. Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum. Okay.
Yep. And my 2, and this is where it gets hard, man, because I mean, obviously, you know who the last 2 are, and it's just like one's in playoff position, the other's not, but one I think is a more complete player, and the other looks really great, but I mean I don't know. But I'm just sake of winning, I'm going to go Donovan Mitchell, and then I'm going to go Ben Simmons, and that was hard. That's hard for me because I really Donovan Mitchell deserves like Rookie of the Year, but I mean I do want to reward winning, so Ben Simmons' team isn't. I
like it. All right, Gonzo. What about you, Gonzo?
Oh, these on mute.
Hey, Gonzo, you ready?
Number 5, I got Lauri Markkanen. At 4, I got Kyle Kuzma. At 3, I have Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons will be higher, but when they had that little stretch, I think it was 8 or 10 games without Embiid, they were like 0-8 or 0-10. They looked really, really awful without. Excuse me.
They were 0-8.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. They look really, really bad. Like Simmons didn't look like Ben Simmons without Joel Embiid. So I got him at 3. I got Jason Tatum at 2, and I have Donovan Mitchell at 1.
Wow. That's why we got Gonzo on here, because he's probably the only one right now who has Ben Simmons at 3, and I can't even be mad at it. I like it. What about you, Pete?
So I've actually got Kuzma at 5, Markkanen at 4.
Okay.
Then I've got Tatum at 3, and I've actually got Ben Simmons at 2, based on the 0-8 stretch, just like Gonzo mentioned, and then they struggle to finish games. The inability to show anything in the mid-range or even try in the mid-range is a little bit concerning for me. So I gave the edge to Donovan Mitchell because nobody saw him being, basically a 39%, close to 39% shoot three, attempting almost 20 shots per game, 18 points a game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, coming because they had Rodney Hood and Rubio being there and things like that. So I gave the slight edge to Mitchell right now. Now that doesn't mean that Ben Simmons can't, turn things around if they start going on a surge, even though they lost to Brooklyn tonight and lose to teams like Memphis and some,
he looked good, looked really good. I mean, he was posting up Dinwiddie like no other.
He looked good tonight.
He looked good, but at the same time, like in my mind, I think that sitting out a year and getting that mental aspect of it, I feel with that stretch that Embiid was not playing, I think he should have taken over a little bit more than he did. He struggled mightily. And if you watch, like Donovan Mitchell kind of thrives in those end of game situations,
right?
Whereas, Ben Simmons, obviously defers to Embiid a lot at the end of the games because he is the de facto point guard. But still, I think in that limited stretch that Embiid was out, I think that kind of tipped the scales a little bit for me.
Nice. All right, I actually have 6 guys because 2 of them are really close. I actually have like 5A. My 5A would be Dennis Smith Jr. 5B would be Kuzma. Mm-hmm. I think Kuzma's kind of gone down a little bit of late.
Yeah.
Recently, and I think Smith has had some, he's had some pretty good games here and there. Plus I'm kind of biased. I really like Dennis Smith Jr. There you go, Lance.
As do I.
Yes, I really like Dennis Smith Jr. At 4, I actually have Jason Tatum 4. I got Markkanen 3. It's close though. I got Mitchell 2 and Ben Simmons is 1. And Pete knows I'm on the Ben Simmons bandwagon. He's never going to come down from 1. I got to stick with Simmons. He's so good.
One thing to note with Kuzma though is Lonzo Ball hasn't been playing, so who's going to pass to him? Jordan Clarkson.
Exactly.
Right. Jordan Clarkson doesn't pass, so that's
Kuzma and Kuzma and Ball have really good chemistry together.
And Kuzma kind of have to create his own spot up or come off a screen and be able to drive. So that's kind of showing, a little bit of inefficiency on Kuzma's shot selection. And hopefully, Lonzo can come back soon. I know he's due back in the next week or 10 days, so hopefully that'll make a difference.
Oh yeah, he'll be back.
And I wanted to put Dennis Smith in the top 5, but he's just too inefficient right now. And plus, like, there's a lot of games where he's not even, and understandably so because they got veteran point guards. He's not even finishing games.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to, but I was like, man, Markkanen a lot of people were sleeping on Markkanen coming into the draft, and it's just good to see him actually light it up.
That's why I got Markkanen 3. His month of January has been great.
It was hot. I mean, it's at a point till, I mean, I don't know. I don't believe in it. I don't put too much stock in it. But there's actually, people putting out there that he might, not be overall better than Porzingis, but he's definitely a better shooter than Porzingis. And, I mean, it's too early to tell. So
I think as a rookie, they're about the same age when they were both rookies. Markkanen, I think, can do a little more at the same age as Porzingis. Call me crazy. And I didn't think that would be the case. He's a better rebounder than Porzingis was. And they're about the same age when they were rookies. And I think Markkanen's a little more athletic. He puts it on the floor a little better than Porzingis did. And you're seeing how he finishes. He's good.
Honesty, like Porzingis came from an overseas team that basically set Markkanen played at Arizona. Difference of the Americanized game versus so I think that they are similar in a certain aspect. I don't know that you can compare them 1 versus 1 just based on the experience coming into the NBA. I think if Porzingis had played 1 year in college, you would have seen some of the flaws that Porzingis had early on as far as shooting the ball. I think those would have been kind of worked out coming into the league, as well as his strength would have been lower by
Yes.
So
that's all good stuff. All right, I'm going to you first on this one, Lance. We're going to go to MVP now, 5-1.
Oh, okay. So this is going to be interesting. This is kind of hard for me. Because obviously the top 2 or 3 are kind of easy. All right, so top 5. All right. So this is kind of hard. I gotta have a top team in here, a player from a top team. I can't have anyone from the bottom. 5, I'm gonna go Kyrie.
Okay.
Maybe his numbers aren't the greatest. I mean, they're pretty good. He's had some great moments, but I think he's like a perfect kind of the catalyst of the MVP player. And then plus Isaiah Thomas, I believe, finished 5th in MVP voting last year. And I think Kyrie's a little better than Isaiah. But I got Kyrie 5.
Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, go all the way down 5-1.
All right. 4. I might want to put him higher, but Jimmy Butler. I mean, Jimmy. I think he changed the whole the outlook in Minnesota because last year everyone thought they were going to make the playoffs and they couldn't make it, and this year I was like, okay, they added Jimmy Butler, they added Teague, but I still think they're not going to be like a top. I mean, they're close to the Spurs, aren't they?
They're close. They're close. Yeah, they're close. They're Oklahoma City, the Spurs, and the Tim. They're all right there.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I thought they'd be 6th or 5th, and for them to be this way, and yeah, he's missed some games, but ultimately, I think he is the reason where they're at. So I'll put him 4, and honestly, I'd probably regret it and put him 3. It's just honestly it's a lot of players that you could put in these lists. What am I, 3? Okay, this is where it gets a little hard. So I was gonna put LeBron higher, but man, they've just been pitiful, man. LeBron is having a great years, efficiency wise and everything, but I can't have my MVP go on these little teams where their just defense is porous and also where he's blaming there was that clip where he blamed Love on the help D when really Love was nowhere near. It's not his fault. That was LeBron's fault. I think it was when Sabonis did him in the post. But I'm gonna go LeBron 3. Honestly, I would have probably put him a little higher, but the way they've been playing lately, can't put him any higher. And this okay. So 2 is going to be hard too. Help me out, guys, honestly, because I know who my number 1 is, but number 2, I can't put Westbrook there. I mean, they're too low for me, especially with all that talent.
I mean, you're going to go with a Warrior?
That's what I'm saying. And Curry's probably missed too many games, right?
Not for me, he hasn't.
No, I mean,
that's what I want, but
Curry's. Hey,
you got Durant too.
If Curry had played all season, he'd be number 1.
Yeah, I think he's number 2 for me, and this is the year that Harden's got to win it, man. If Harden don't win it this year, he's never winning it. I'm sorry.
Nope.
Harden don't win it this year. He'll never win. Harden has to win. He'll never win if you don't win it this year. I'm sorry.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that list. Gonzo, where are you at? 5-1 MVP.
At number 5, I have Kyrie Irving. 4, Kevin Durant. 3, Russell Westbrook. 2, Steph Curry. Number 1, James Harden. No doubt about it.
No LeBron James.
I mean, dude, they've been playing horrible. I mean, he's got his numbers are great, but
it's crazy because just a month ago, it was tough to even make a decision.
Yeah. But
man.
Part of that comes from too. Let's be honest. The more we see these Cavs struggles, the more we see confusion break out in the locker room. Kyrie leaving. It's no. We know LeBron's a great player, but I think the world and the media and everybody is starting to recognize that LeBron's the biggest reason why this stuff happens.
Damn.
No, seriously, he's sacrificed.
Go ahead, Gonzo. I'm ready.
Everybody gives LeBron all this praise, but people don't understand how LeBron is sacrificing. He's pretty much putting people's careers, sacrifice people's careers for the sake of himself. I'm gonna give you an example. When LeBron comes to a team, everybody has to change their games to accommodate him.
Right.
Everybody has talked about it so long, and I hate when people say this. LeBron James makes people better. Who? Don't give me Danielle Marshall. Danielle Marshall could shoot threes before LeBron ever reached the league. Before he could ever reach the league. Let's go back to Ricky Davis. Ricky Davis can score 20 points a game. Ricky Davis can score 20 points a game before he ever played with a LeBron James.
Yeah.
Antoine Jameson was already a good player before he ever played with LeBron James.
Look what
so to say LeBron, Kevin Love was a good player before he played with LeBron James. Yeah. Before LeBron came to the Cavaliers, Kyrie Irving was already a good player. He could score. He can give you 20 points a game, shooting 45%. He was doing this before LeBron James. So to say that LeBron makes people better, the only person I can really say LeBron really made better was probably Booby.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, I'm about to say.
Yes, that's the one. Hey, that's the one.
Yeah, yes. I love that. I love that take, because if you look at LeBron, he has controlled basically all the moves too. Like, he wanted Derrick Rose on the team. He wanted Dwayne Wade on the team.
Tristan Thompson.
He said, yeah, he's like, give Tristan Thompson this big
Smith.
Let's trade.
Mad. And then
he wanted JR. He wanted JR.
Right. Let's trade Wiggins for Kevin Love. And now he like basically turned his back on Kevin Love, a few seasons ago. And like the coach on the team and everything runs through, like, yes, Tyronn Lue is in the coach's seat, but let's be honest, he's LeBron's puppet. So, it comes down to, when are you going to be held accountable for your team struggling? And I mean, people give LeBron a pass, and it's not. It all comes down to one factor, like Gonzo said. It has to be a common denominator.
Mm-hmm. Right. Hey, and the thing is, the only reason Tyronn Lue has a ring is because Draymond Green got suspended.
Yeah, absolutely, very much. That's for you, Byron.
Yeah, I had to make. I hope Byron's watching, because I had to throw that in there. But Pete, who are your MVP? Who are your 5-1 MVPs?
All right, since I just had LeBron James on my mind, LeBron is 5th.
Okay,
wow. He barely edged out Kyrie Irving.
Oh wow!
For 5th for me. I've actually got Westbrook 4th because the teeter-totter of what happens with Oklahoma City. Yes, they've been on fire lately, but I take the entire season into account, and just the uneven start of the 8-12 start and things like that. Now, he'll probably climb up the list pretty high, because what they've won, 21 out of 28 games or something like that.
I think they're going to finish 3rd in the West.
I mean, they could. Mm-hmm. And then I've got Curry at number 3. And the only reason I put Curry, I'm going to go ahead and say Durant, I put number 2. I put number 3 behind. Is basically, if you look at it, Durant had kind of play a little bit early than Steph has this season. Not to say that Steph has been bad, because obviously his scoring's been up, and this season.
Yeah,
I just think that takes a little bit of a backseat sometimes to Durant, and that's why the edge is Durant there. And then of course James Harden. Like Lance said, if he doesn't get it this year, he's not ever going to get it. I mean, we just saw a 60-point triple. How everybody praised Russell Westbrook for his empty triple doubles last year, and so you got to give it to James Harden this year.
The highest scoring triple double, right?
Right.
Yep.
Ever.
It's the first 60-point triple double ever. That is correct. Russell Westbrook did have a 59-point triple double last year, I believe, but I saw it on Twitter. I could be wrong. I'm sure he did.
He has to get it weird rebounds and get questionable assists.
If Russ averages triple double and doesn't win MVP, it's going to make last year's. Wait a second. Why did he win it last year? He averaged a triple double this year. He didn't get it.
Right, we'll see. Says if you have a triple double at the end of the season, you win, even though Oscar Robertson didn't get it.
Exactly. It is what it is. But I actually have 5A and 5B again, just like rookies. I've got Kyrie and Jimmy Butler 5A, 5B. So we're basically tied 5th. 4, I have Kevin Durant. 3, I have LeBron James. 2, and if you would have asked me this yesterday, it would have been neck and neck, Curry and Harden. But the 60-point triple double, I think Harden separated himself just a little bit from Curry to me. So I got Curry 2 and Harden 1. I feel, God, Houston fans, if Harden doesn't get it, Rockets fans are going to be, because they're going to feel this. They're going to be like, this is the 3rd time he's been robbed. But here's the thing, though. You can make the argument, Like if anybody was robbed last year, it was Kawhi Leonard. And Curry did deserve it the first time he won it. You can't argue against Curry.
But let's be real here. If this was Kawhi's, seriously, Kawhi could have won it this year, and then look what happened.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Rockets fans are just going to be. I mean, you may see a riot from Rockets fans.
I mean, because it's horrible that he hasn't won one yet. I mean, he was my.
But it's not horrible. He was my pick, but after the season was over and everything and the dust had settled, I changed it to Kawhi Leonard. I would have voted Kawhi last year. And then the first time, I mean, obviously Steph was unanimous in 20, and nobody argued that. But when it was Steph and Harden in 2015, how can you argue? You can argue for either one of them. It wasn't a wrong decision.
Right.
It wasn't. I don't think Westbrook should have won it last year. I don't know if Pete's with me on that one.
You don't think Westbrook should have won it? Is what you said?
No, I mean, he was deserving.
I don't think anyone did, right?
I mean, I'm on the James Harden bandwagon last year.
Yeah, it was Kawhi.
I was, but then when I thought about it, I'm like, I think Lance, you had Kawhi, didn't you, last year?
I had Kawhi, actually.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm actually with you now on that.
It would have been Harden out of Westbrook. You know,
I felt had a lot of, empty triple doubles.
Right.
As great as the feat was, and as great as Westbrook is as a competitor and an NBA athlete, I just felt like, some of those, it was like, all right, your teammates are just letting you get that rebound. And yes, it helped the offense to push it. I get all that.
Yeah.
Off
free throws.
Round and round and round with Thunder fans, and not trying to rehash that, but I just felt like James Harden made his teammates better. And overall, that's what MVP is about.
And I'm going to say this to all my Thunder fans. Yes, Steph Curry is a better player than Russell Westbrook. I know y'all are going to hate me for that. I don't think there's any argument on this panel on that one.
Right, absolutely.
No, not.
I think Westbrook, if he was on this panel, he'd definitely argue.
Something about Russell Westbrook, though. I tell people this all the time. People always say, "Oh, Russell Westbrook's a beast. He's an animal." This is my analogy, right? If Russell Westbrook was a beast or an animal, I'm going to say like this: would he be Dracula? No, because Dracula is actually very cunning, very smart. He's deadly. Would he be the werewolf man? The werewolf man, he knows how to attack. He's pretty precise. He's deadly. Russell Westbrook is equivalent to Frankenstein. He's probably strong. He's explosive, but he has no brain. He's an idiot.
God, man, come on.
Hey, I hope there's some OKC fans listening to this.
Hey,
and let's be honest. Like I said,
Adam Joseph's gonna kill you, man. I'm telling you.
And I'm gonna tell you something. People are so tricked. We're so tricked by numbers. Like we see a triple double and we forget the guy shot 42%, the lowest of any MVP ever. Like everybody completely overlooks the 42% shooting. Like, what are you watching? Because if you're watching the OKC games, Russell Westbrook is probably usually the reason why they're probably losing.
Or shot attempts too.
Bad shot selection.
And the turnover. I bet he had the most turnovers out of anyone. Maybe Harden.
And yes, Pete's with me. I think he had good teammates last year.
He did. We see what Oladipo and Sabonis are doing in Indiana.
He had good teammates.
I mean, Oladipo was an all-star, and then Sabonis.
And Doug McDermott's having a good year in New York. He just doesn't get all the minutes, but he's played well. 42% from three.
Right.
He had that last year. Taj Gibson. He had good teammates.
This is another thing too. I want people to know one thing. Steven Adams, if he wasn't on OKC, he's a 20-10 guy easily.
Oh. I would love to trade him so he can go flourish somewhere else. You know what? To
the Mavericks, right? To the Mavericks?
Yeah, I would love for him to come to Dallas. And I think Rick would love it too.
Good luck with Dennis Smith. No, he's going to give him the ball.
I mean, it's not like, but Dennis Smith.
Dennis Smith is another version of Russell Westbrook. Just.
And he's a rookie. He's a rookie. Come on.
Lance is defending his Mavericks.
I like Dennis Smith Jr. I just think that he has a lot of Westbrook tendencies.
Absolutely.
Fast shot selection.
Gives it up to Adams a lot. I bet if we looked up who he assists to the most, I bet it'd be Adams.
Last year, probably.
We gotta look that up. I'm sure we can look. Who's got synergy here? I'm sure they have that on synergy.
I don't have it right this second. It take me by the time we get off.
I'm not gonna lie. I gotta clean in the glass. I don't have synergy no more. I'm too broke for that now. I gotta go back to $8 a month, not to 30.
Hey, you advanced stats guys, man. You on the man. I'm not. Hey,
I'm not even that big of a stats nerd.
I'm not either, but they do have some telling stats on that. I don't go by everything.
Hey, I bet Brady's got synergy.
But this is what they have though. Like I like to know where exactly they're shooting from, like how like the percentage of where they take certain shots. That's what I really look for in those websites. Not necessarily like some of the more.
It's funny because if you watch a team and like someone like me, if I watch a team enough, a couple of guys I can pick out and just watching, I can see, okay, this is where this dude likes to shoot from.
Right.
This is where he's good from. But I couldn't do it for the whole league. Give me a team.
I don't get to watch enough games, man. To do it like that. I try, but it's hard.
Yeah. I think that's gonna wrap us up for tonight. But I got to go to Gonzo first here, because he had all the OKC hatred. Gonzo, let all the OKC fans know where they can find you at on Twitter so they can come at you.
Oh, I think he's on mute.
You there? You still there, Gonzo? We'll come back to him in a minute. We'll go to you first, Lance. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
All right. Well, it's Lance_972. And right now, I'm a feature writer for brooklyn.com. So that's Brook-Lin.com. We're going to have some trade rumor stuff coming up soon. Other than that, I still haven't made my debut, but I am a contributor for the 94 Pete Report. So that's probably where we're going to get most of my Dallas Maverick stuff. I'm just working on some trade stuff for that, probably more than likely Wesley Matthews. But you can find me there. Watching a lot of Nets games lately, and thankfully they're not as bad as they were a couple years ago.
Nice. All right, Pete, I got to go to you since Gonzo's not there right now. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
You can find me on Twitter at PeteTollNBA. So it's PETETOABA. Not on as much to talk about basketball, and so it's kind of hard to get through. A lot of times I'll catch it the next day in its entirety. The Sixers game at probably 6 a.m. in the morning, because that's kind of the time frame that I've on when he gets up and naps and all that stuff, work stuff and all of that, So, that's about it.
Fatherhood.
Nice.
Hey, oh yeah.
Hey, Pete. Hey, let everybody know about the front office show.
Oh yeah.
I want to give a shout out there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Con Arel and of course the host is Keith Smith, who if anybody's watched the Unquestionably Raw podcast in the past knows he was on with Matt and all of us many of times. So Keith hosts that. It's at let me get it. Say it because I always end up getting it wrong. So it's at Front Office Show on Twitter. We just recorded an episode tonight that should be out by tomorrow at some point, probably I would say by lunchtime tomorrow.
Nice.
And it covered the Blake Griffin trade. It covered the Tyreek Evans shutdown news, the Mirotic potential trade, and then shutdown. We kind of got into the beginning of the seller market for the NBA trade deadline. Through in alphabetical order, we got through Chicago, and the rest of the teams, Cleveland through Washington, be out on Monday, and then next week we'll do trade deadline analysis on Thursday. So look out for.
I know Keith is very busy. I know.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is when I know that y'all have episodes when there's like don't mean to sound redundant.
Well,
front office happenings and stuff.
Everybody like had something at some point. Like Keith had the flu, and then he's got his daughter's or basketball stuff, and then I had some stuff going on with stuff like that. So it's just hard to lock down, record such and such time at 7:00 on this night, and one person's free and the other two aren't, or two are and the other's not. Like, it's just trying to get three people all on the same night with busy schedules is sometimes a little difficult.
I will say to everyone listening that hasn't heard of the NBA Front Office Show, if you're a hardcore fan like all of us, you need to listen, because not only do they talk about the All-Stars, they will talk about the D-League players that have come on. So if you want to learn about obscure players that might be breakthrough players in a couple seasons, that's the show you want to listen to. And plus, Keith Smith is a genius when it comes to transactions and how the money works in the NBA. I mean, this guy's
the cap,
spreadsheets. I mean, this dude is a genius.
Appreciate that, Lance.
We just lost Gonzo, but I'm gonna hold on real quick. Let me make sure I got his Twitter right, because I want all you OKC fans to know. Let me pull it up real quick. Got to put the.
You want me to do it?
I know what it is. I just want to make sure there's underscores. I get that's what it's
straight through.
Okay, yeah. So it's shoot. Okay, so if you want to follow Gonzo, it is at DJ Gonzo Star. There's no underscores, nothing. At DJ Gonzo Star. All you OKC fans, get at him. Let him know how you feel. Let him know you think Russell Westbrook is better than Steph Curry.
Better than Michael Jordan.
Exactly. Hey, real quick before we get off, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this live here. Pete, what is your recording schedule next Thursday? Because I know you and Keith and are gonna do the trade deadline thing.
I'm good, probably, I would say after 8:30, because I think we're going to do 7, so just give or take it usually an hour and 15 minutes or so to record.
All right, that's when we'll come back then next week. We'll come back later on, probably 10:30 Eastern again. We'll talk.
That's good.
We'll just talk all trades. We'll talk trade deadline. Lance, are you free next Thursday?
I don't know my schedule next Thursday, but if I can give it to you like a couple days in advance, I'll definitely let you know.
Okay, let me know, because we'll hopefully we can get Alana on again. I know she's really busy. She was going to come on with us tonight, but the Heat played, so she had to do a write-up after the game, so that's why she couldn't come on.
Give where everybody can find you too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Y'all can find me. I'm so worried about Gonzo. I forgot about me. Yeah, y'all can find me at Matt UQR Podcast on Twitter. Y'all want to get in a little NBA 2K, just hit me up. Give me gamer tags, PlayStation or Xbox One. It doesn't matter. I got both systems now, which is a good thing.
And don't forget, Matt is also a panelist on the Sim Hangout now. Pretty much
most
every
of the time. Yeah, I wasn't on a week ago. Usually, not all the time. But
pop up a lot though. With that.
Yeah, I've been on there most of the time.
So shout out to Big Czar, Big Mama, Books. I know I think he had the flu last week.
He did. Yeah, he was sick.
Brian Mazik, right?
Yeah, B Mazik, man. God, man, I literally am in tears every episode. Just his basketball pickup game stories.
I want to tell you this, because I was looking at not the chat room, when they're on the chat during the show,
right.
On the YouTube on the bottom of the screen, someone was mad complaining about Brian's stories.
What?
And I'm thinking to myself,
that is I wouldn't say that's the best part, because I think everybody brings their own unique perspective, but it's hilarious. Literally, I'm in tears. I don't know how you guys cannot not crack up live on the air and everybody just busts out laughing. And
the comment was, I didn't tune in to hear your coaching stories. What? It's funny.
Man, that is
they
hilarious.
must not know who he is, because I like him on his YouTube channel as well. He's got stuff.
And then when he streams his mic, it's even more hilarious. He's YouTube's
my favorite thing of him is when he plays his sons and when he plays.
That's
my favorite.
And even more so, Brian is just an all around good guy. Anytime we've asked him to come on the show or anything like that, he's always down for it. Just very down to earth, easygoing guy, and I can't say enough good things.
And y'all gotta follow. Y'all gotta actually. Let's give him what's his Twitter. Let's let everybody.
Is it unique? Is it unique Mizik or is it just a franchise? I forgot what it is.
I'll get it.
So it's at Unique Mizik on Twitter. So it's UNIQUEMAZIQUE. And many people may remember him as Franchise Play, but he kind of rebranded and went with the Unique Mizik. So it's Brian Mizik, a.k.a.
That's how I
Unique Mizik.
And he is the Forbes writer. He does a lot of the stuff for 2K, a lot of MMA stuff for Forbes. So check out his work. Very good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we damn near shouted out all of Sim Nation and put everything out there. Also, Big Nelson, Marvel Comics artist. So
Luke Cage and
yes,
and all of that good
very
stuff.
Talented gentleman.
Yes, very talented gentleman. So I think that's going to wrap us up now. All the shout. Oh yeah, and of course we got to shout out Byron.
Oh yeah, of
You got
course.
to shout out Byron.
Byron turned me around on the Justin Timberlake supplies and then so I ended up liking it. And my son, I tweeted out a video earlier. My son's like fanatical, even though he's only about to be 14 months. He likes the reason that song.
He's got the moves.
That song comes on and he's like all over the place with that song, and I don't understand. And
he's ready. Hey, he's going to be ready for that Super Bowl performance on Sunday, right?
I think he will. He's going to have his Eagles jersey on. I'll tell you that.
Real quick. Let's do this, man. Lance, who do you got in the Super Bowl?
Patriots.
Okay, I know. I already know Pete's going Eagles.
Oh yeah, you know that.
Yeah, he's a Philly guy. I don't really have an NFL team, but I am a Tom Brady guy. I'm going Tom Brady. It's always Tom Brady. It's going to be the Patriots. It's always Tom Brady. The guy's fantastic.
27-24 upset by Philly. They win at the very end.
Was it a 3-point game last time they played?
I don't.
In the Super Bowl.
That was in 05 in the Super Bowl when T.O. was on the team.
I'll tell you.
On Philly with McNabb.
Yeah. 24-21 in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I remember.
Okay. I think Lance is with me on this. Can you really bet against Tom Brady?
Yes, you can. When the Eagles are playing, yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Unless it's the Giants, I'm not betting against them. But then also, I'm not betting against Philly because with my bad luck, they'll win, and I don't want to do that. So.
And Pete's going to be an extremely happy man. And
hey, that's going to be the happiest I've been since the Phillies won the World Series. So I was alive to see that, and I to see the Eagles win.
Mm-hmm. Hey, and let's just
to win the finals.
Let's just hope Justin Timberlake brings Janet out in the Super Bowl performance. I think it's going to happen. I think he does it. I think he has to. He has to.
They got to make amends, man, because that was pretty. Because she kind of got the short end of the stick.
Oh yeah, hey, they are. Hey, she's already said they made up, but I think he has to bring her out.
Right.
To seal the deal, he's got to bring her out. He has to.
That would be a room shaker.
It would be, and if he does it, what he's gonna know. It's gonna be a total surprise.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But
there's no way.
All right.
Again, right. I mean.
Yeah, they got to do it because I don't think Timberlake ever performs at another Super Bowl because he's getting older. Unless he's like 50 and he's.
What do you mean? They have like the Who and all types of old dudes.
Yeah, but he to be up there, like it's gonna be hard to.
Yeah.
Hard to kind of sell that. As far as like, because he's got to move around and do all that stuff, like that's not going to be.
Yeah, next year they're going to have the Migos out there.
No, that ain't. All right, the NFL is.
That was a joke.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Yeah, no. I think Timberlake's like hip hop enough for them.
He's the safe artist.
Yeah, he's the safe artist. That's right. I think that's going to wrap us up for tonight. We gave you some NFL predictions. We talked a little Timberlake. We talked a lot of NBA. We'll definitely be back next Thursday about the same time. We'll talk nothing but trade deadline. Hopefully, no other injuries we have to talk about. God forbid that happens again. Because we hate talking injuries. I mean, look, Isaiah Cannon tonight, obviously not an all-star, but still you hate to see it. But, the 3 all-stars out for either the season or up to 8 weeks, sad stuff. But we'll definitely be back next week. Thank you, everybody, for for tuning in. Definitely hit the comment section. Let us know what you liked about tonight, what you hated. If you want to make fun of me, Pete, Gonzo, or Lance, go ahead. We can take it. We're big boys. But until next time, we will see everyone later.